Hey guys, how we doing? We are all the way live. Come on in, come on in, come on in. It's your girl, Sherri Somers, your revenue master life coach. So come on in here. We have a special guest today inside of our Faith, Favor, and Finance show. And I have a special guest, Miss Janee Culpepper, and she's going to be talking about how she was able, y'all listen up, to cut her finances to under $1,500 a month. So before we begin though, make sure that you tag your business bestie, grab your Diva Diamond notebook and Diva Diamond pen, and come on in here.
I have a Diva Diamond pen right here.
You do? Isn't that crazy? When I said it, I'm like, what Diva Diamond pen? You better show them. So we're going to be dive right in and let's get started. So go ahead and let me go ahead and make sure that I can see everyone and get your comments. I don't want anyone to miss out on this live show. Let's make sure that we're good. Yep. We are good to go. I can hear you guys loud and clear. When you come in, tell us who you are and what you do. Tell us who you are and what you do. I'm excited, y'all. This show is for people who are looking to increase their earning power, to build their financial confidence. And I truly believe that you can do that by doing faith, favor, and financial strategies that will be able to do build that financial confidence. Because we all about that revenue stream, baby. Let me make sure that I can also get you guys inside of my group. Make sure you're live. As you come in, tell us who you are and where you're tuning in from. Test. Good. We're good to go. All right. So Miss Janee, the Miss Personal Financial Coach, tell us a little bit about you and tell my audience or my tribe a little bit about yourself.
Well, as you know, my name is Janee Culpepper. I am from Los Angeles, California, but I reside here in Oklahoma City. And I am a personal finance coach. I help women, I coach them one-on-one with their finances, helping them through budgeting to getting free from debt, creating savings plans. I mean, the whole nine. And I help them really just meet their financial goals, those goals that they're trying to meet, that they're stuck and they can't accomplish. That's what I help them do.
Thank you. So tell me, I want to learn a little bit about what have been your story growing up when it comes to finances. What was your story? What were you told about money growing up?
Honestly, Sherri, I wasn't told very much, but I was very observant. And so my mom, she, I know we've talked about my mom before, but she is a go-getter, right? I'd always see her with her pen and her pad writing down numbers, calculating and just calculating her expenses. She also has a couple of properties. And so seeing her just being a go-getter and going after things and always calculating, that's what I've seen. And so growing up, that's what I began to do. So she never really taught me. I just observed her and her methods and what she did. And growing up, I realized that I started to do the same thing.
And in doing so, what does that did for you when it comes to that financial space? What are some things let's start with some good things that she has taught you about money that you're using right now in your business today?
Well, one thing she always taught me is to be prepared, to plan. And whatever it is that you want to do, you can do it. You just got to plan for it.
Good point.
That was definitely something good because when I get money, even when I was in college, when I received some type of money from financial aid or a job that I had, I would always kind of plan it out. Whatever I wanted to do, I would put it in those areas with whatever that was. So if it was we wanted to buy some books, or if it was I want to go to the show, I'd always plan it out, not really knowing that what I was doing was budgeting, but that's exactly what I was doing.
And speaking of college, let's start there for a second. College, What's the first thing that they give you on campus during orientation? If y'all know what we're talking about, what's the first thing, Janee, that when you walk in college that they give you during orientation? What is that thing, that free thing? And they give you a t-shirt with that thing. What is that first thing they give you for our college people?
That financial aid packet.
Yep. They give the financial aid packet, but it also give you that what? That credit card. There's always somebody out there giving that free credit card, and we just young and dumb. Just young and dumb when it comes to that credit card. Like, oh, credit card and a free t-shirt, baby. Exactly. Yes. What college did you go to?
I went to Langston University.
Awesome. So now I want to learn, what are one, I would say, negative thing that you've learned about money that you realize right now is not really true as you got older, as you got more wisdom and knowledge. Now you're your own woman. What is that one negative thing that you're like, oh, that's not true, and that's not how money is? What is that one thing from being younger to now that you're older and wiser? What is that one knowledge that you can share with us?
Whew, there's so many, but one, Lord Jesus. One is that credit cards are not used for emergencies in your personal finances. I feel like that's a myth that goes around, that credit cards are used for emergencies. When you have an emergency, just use your credit card. And that's just not true. Your emergency savings is for emergencies. That's how we get in a lot of trouble, because we just go and swipe. We think this is the emergency. Oh, my tire popped. And there's a method to using it to where it can help you build credit and be able to move forward in life.
So what is that revenue number that you think every family should have for that emergency purpose? What is that number?
I would require everybody to start off with just $1,000, right? $1,000 in your savings account for in case you get a nail in your tire, maybe something happens to your window, there's a scratch on your car, anything, housing expenses. Just start with $1,000. That way it's enough to where you can handle a big expense. And if you have to pay a little bit more, then it's not hitting your budget so hard.
Okay, Janee, so what I'm hearing you saying to the people, y'all, listen, if you haven't already, tag your business bestie, grab your Diamond Diva pen and notebook. Make sure, yes, I love it. We're talking to Janee Culpepper. She is a personal financial coach, and we're learning how she is able to stay under a $1,500 budget for her business, for her finances. She's going to be dropping the nuggets. Let me know who you are, where you're tuning in from, and what you do, just in case somebody's in the chat that wants to have your services. In this show, Faith, Favor, and Finance, we're talking about how to help you increase your earning power. I truly believe that wealth is created 3 ways, right? Number 1, you should be able to cut costs, cut your costs, cut your spending. Number 2, increase your earning power. Find ways to increase put more money into that bank account. And number 3, get back more money, whether it's through deduction or taxes and so on. So today, our focus is going to be that number 1. How do we cut costs in our personal finances so we can see the revenue in our business to build wealth? And my special guest, Janee, is here today to help us share some of her tricks and tips that she has been using to be able to do just that. So Janee, let's dive right in. When did you discover that you wanted to be a financial coach? What was that pivotal moment in your business in your life that said, you know what, I want to teach people personal finance? What is your story of why you wanted to be a personal financial coach?
That's a good question. And it took me a while. I didn't initially know that this is what I was going to do, because back in 2013, I went through a really hard season. I owned a business, actually owned 2 businesses, a network marketing business, and I was a realtor. And I left my full-time job to be able to do that. And I had enough saved for like 3 months or 4 months or something. But by the time, I will never forget it, it was December 31st. We were going into the new year. I had 0 income and almost 10 grand built up in credit card debt. Not from just spending frivolously, but from going after goals, being ambitious and driven and doing all of those things. And so I got very intentional, and I really looked at where I was. And of course, anytime I have an issue, I'll go to God first. And he told me that I needed to get in order. Like literally, just like, you need to get in order, sis. Like, you have messed things up. And so I knew what that meant for me, because it was my own personal journey. And so I went to get a job. I went on a journey to pay off that debt, and I paid it off within 2 years of that time frame. And so 2 years later, I began to ask God, like, what is that thing that I'm really good at? And he showed me, like, look at what you've done. I want you to go out and show women how to live an abundant life, even no matter how much they make. You can be rich. You don't have to make a lot of money, and you could still be in a bad position financially. And so that is what fueled me, and bringing our hearts back to him and really letting us see, like, this is what's causing you to be in this position inside.
Wow.
Not the stuff.
Wow. That's beautiful, because you said something that you say you can still have money coming in, you can be rich, and you still have financial issues. Because many of the times what I find with people who are in high-end or executive jobs, like for example, a doctor, a nurse, an attorney, that yes, they are making great money, but what the challenge is the student loans that to get them to that position. Because the higher you go in your career, you're decided that you want to get a certificate, you want to get diplomas, you want to get degrees. If you didn't come from wealth, that means you have to find a way to get to a bank and get that loan to pay for that bank if there's no scholarships or grants that is given. And you already know that once you graduate from undergrad, when you go into your master degree, there's not much grants out there to help you. So now you rely heavily on student loans to get that master degree. And they don't tell you that there's not a job that's waiting to pay.
No, absolutely not. And that's another thing I wish I could tell people: before you decide to go to college, let's actually see what you want to do, and if it's necessary, because I'm all for education, but if it's going to cause your arm and a leg and you have to live 50 years to be able to pay for it, then let's really look at that.
That is so true, because I have a friend, she's a doctor, and she's a well-off doctor, but for her to where she is, it took a lot of student loans to get there. Yes, she has the accolades and a high influential type of job, but here's the thing: now she got to live up to that name. So now she got to get a car that say that she's a doctor. So the debt keeps on piling to live up to that expectations, because the doctor just can't be walking around here with a Nissan, right? So driving around with a Nissan. So now the debt just keep compounding and compounding. And so even though she has her degree and she's a great doctor, but now that she has to live up to that name and that standard that society say that she has to live up to. So sometimes people think like, oh, I'm going back to school to get a degree because this degree is going to give me more money. That's not always the case.
No. And statistically speaking, it's said that for African American people, we actually go in the opposite direction after college. We actually get broker.
Wow. Say that one more time, a little bit louder for the people in the back.
We get broker after college because we don't know how to manage. We don't know how to manage it. And there's too much debt. And like you said, not enough jobs paying us at that high level to be able to offset all of the debt that we have. So learning and understanding student loans, how to budget, how to, strategize, because it's not about how much you make, it's about how much you manage.
It's not about how much you make, it's about how much you manage. And another thing, just shifting gears, is let's talk about the fact that look at the people who have won the lottery. Like there are people who have won the lottery and they're broke today.
Yep.
they've had millions of dollars came through their hands, came through their bank account, and they literally like got wiped out. You're like, what? Exactly. So it's really knowing how to manage so you're 100% right about that. So today we're going to talk about how to manage. And she said something I did not want to overlook. If you're an entrepreneur right now, the sound of our voice, and you're saying, listen, how am I going to pay for these systems? How am I going to pay for these tools? How am I going to, so if it means for you to go get a second job to pay for the things, so you're going to pivot, but you're not going to change the plan. Pivoting doesn't mean that you're changing the plan. That means you're going after this job to pay for this thing to move your business forward. So I want to give you grace and permission that you can go out and still get another type of business where you can still control your time. I remember when I was substitute at the middle schools, because there were needs of substitute teachers. And I loved doing that before COVID. But that was still another income that I had coming in. And that was helpful because I was able to pay for different bills and my lifestyle that I want to maintain. So there's nothing wrong with you. Come on, people, going out and getting another job to offset the cost of your future of whatever your goals are, right? Or having a side gig or something that you need to do to make up the difference. So when people say, I don't have enough money, we're getting to number 2, increase your earning power. That's something that you can do. But today we're going to talk to Janee. Y'all, if you haven't already, go ahead and share this broadcast. If you haven't already, tag your business bestie. We're talking about how to keep your income low, how to keep your expenses low. So Janee, go ahead and tell me, what was one thing that you do, you can share with my tribe that you did to keep your income low?
Well, like I said, when I was in that season, I didn't have income, or it was very limited. So I started looking at my expenses. What am I paying out? And is there something that I could substitute to get this lower? So small things like cable. This is one thing that a lot of people don't want to separate from. But can you get Netflix that's $12.99 instead of getting cable that's $200? So really looking at what you want, those things that just make you feel good to have, right? And seeing how can I decrease this? How can I get it lower? What can I substitute? So that was the first thing I did. I cut costs on my cable. I cut costs on my phone bill. What was I paying for? I cut costs on my car insurance.
Stay right there. Okay, so we want to work through that, y'all, because I love to give y'all the how. So she said she can't cut costs on her cable, and I did that too. I went and got, I haven't had cable in almost 4 years. I had Wi-Fi and I used my Netflix. That's the most I have time to watch. So, and the news is negative anyway, so I don't want to watch that.
Right.
And there's so many different things right now that you can get to be able to still get cable, and get local channels if that's what your interest is. So I wanted to stay there. And I also want to stay there with a phone bill situation, because one of the things that I see that Verizon's, AT&T, and all these huge humongous company, if you go down to like a Metro or what's the other one that you go down to them, and even go down to a smaller company, you're paying less and you're not with the giant people. I still don't understand why people go to these huge companies when you can go like to a Metro and pay way less. Or go down to Cricket, and pay way less. Like, so your phone bill and your cable was 2 things that you say, okay, I got to work on these. Y'all, what are some things in your business that you also have cut? Share that with us as well. What are some things, what are some tips and tricks that you have also cut in your costs? Go ahead and put in the comments right now. What are some things that you've done to cut costs in your business? So you say you got rid of the cable, you got rid of the phone bill, not got rid of it, but find a cheaper person. Okay. What else?
I was with AT&T. I think at the time I was paying well over $135, probably $140. And just to get that $40 cheaper, you can do something with that money, put it towards your savings or your debt. Now, Sherri, I actually have cable, internet, and phone for like $130.
For how much?
$130.
Wow. Cable, internet, and phone. Wow. Wow. Okay. So you cut your cable and you cut your internet and you cut your phone and you just pay. So what one person's paying for their phone bill, y'all better get this. Y'all better catch this. What one person's paying for their phone bill, you're getting all three bundled for one price.
All three. Wow.
All three. Yes. Okay. Y'all, this is good. Y'all, this is good. It's getting good over here. Okay. Okay. So you did that. Now what else? What else would you have you suggestion that you've made?
This is a big one, but during that time I had to decrease my living expenses as a whole. So I had to move. My rent was too high. And this is something that was drastic, but I moved. I was paying maybe $750 or something for rent at the time. I had decreased from an apartment that was $400. And of course, that's hard for people to really realize. Like 60% of my income or 50% of my income is going to just for me to be able to live. And if you have a lot of debt like I did, there was nothing left for me to pay the debt. So I had to figure out how I could move to be able to decrease. So I moved, and that was a huge chunk of money that I was able to put towards the debt that I had to pay off during that time.
So you went from paying more at that time, because rent already on skyrocket, but at that time you were paying $7 something for rent. Now you moved down to like $4 something for rent, correct? Okay.
Yeah. When I worked on the proproperty.
But listen, I'm all about leveraging opportunity, baby.
Extra 20%.
Listen, this is what we call favors, right? Listen, I am all about leveraging that opportunity. So working inside of the property also give you a discount. You would think August give you a discount. I'm so for that. I am so for it. I wanted to also stay there too as well, because that was one of the reasons I said too, because when I had my place, I was like, listen, it's just Dylan and I am a single mom. Why do I need all these space? Right? Why not create an income property for me? And that's what I did as well. So I use an asset that I have to create wealth for me as well. So it became an income property and bless another family too. And I have amazing tenants inside of my property. So so I truly understand. So you look around you and you say, what are the things that are around me that I can cut? Y'all, if you're just joining me, we are talking about how to create wealth by cutting costs and living, not say below your means. I don't like that word, but still create your lifestyle or cutting costs. We're talking about different strategic strategies that we can cut costs in our home, so we can take that money, y'all, invest it in some type of stocks or invest in the type of saving that's going to give us a return on our investment. If you're just joining me, we are with the Faith, Favor, and Finance show. We have the beautiful personal finance coach, the beautiful Miss Janee Culpepper, and she was able to keep her costs under $1,500 a month, and she's showing us a strategy of how she was able to do that, y'all. And if you have a strategy that you're used to cut costs, go ahead and drop it in the comments. Sharing is caring, so go ahead and drop in the comments how you're able to also cut costs so you can get faster to that wealth or family wealth, that your legacy that you want to leave. So I love that. So let's go back to a little bit that what you talk about today. You talk about cutting your cable, cutting your phone bill, but you were able to shop around, I'm assuming, right? And get everything bundled for one price for under $140. And I think that's a great price, because everyone right now, they have people right now, what you're paying for 3 things is what people are paying for 1.
Yes.
One. And Janee, can we talk about the mindset along with that? Because when I was talking to my realtor, shout out to Angel Myers, the people realtor, and when I was talking to her about transitioning and moving into the property, we were talking about how my lifestyle would change. I'm like, girl, I live with people. My lifestyle would change. So there's some things that you do so you can have time to fly out and have time to go with your friends. So ladies and gentlemen, the sound of my voice, I'm sure 100% you got money all around you. You're just not. Girl, tell them. There's money all around you, and there's some things that you can cut so you can see some money, so you don't have to take that overtime on that job that you really don't want to take. Let's be real for a second. Hey Q, I see you. Hey Garrett, how are you doing? Thank you guys for tuning in. We are talking about faith, favor, finance, and how to cut costs in your business. What's another strategy, Janee, that you want to share with us today?
Well, what I love to do, Sherri, just because I'm a very motivated person, and when it comes to finances, I like to just drop a large amount once I'm able to save it, right? So I purchased a car, and one thing I learned along my journey is we don't invest in depreciating assets.
Hold up again, because I did that. I did that, and I paid.
Too. Listen,
I will raise both hands. You do not invest in depreciation. Y'all better tag somebody. Some people need to hear this.
Yes.
Y'all, listen, y'all, welcome to the Favor and Finance Show, because I did it. I would raise my hand because we were young and dumb, right? Young and dumb. No financial literacy. So we were just trying to please the masses, right? Okay, go ahead. Say it one more time for the people in the back.
Whatever your excuse is, you do not invest in depreciating assets. So that's called.
Somebody write that in the chat. You do not invest in depreciation assets. Somebody write that in the chat for us. Yes. Why do you say that?
Well, because they add no value to you, right? So if we were really to lay out your net worth statement, and we were to look and see, what assets do you have? Do you have any homes? Do you have any properties? Do you have any cash on hand? Things like that in your bank account. And your depreciating assets are things like cars. Mm-hmm. They're things like credit cards, things that don't add any value to what the economy would say is your number. They don't add any value to you. Right. And so I take a strategy. I saved up so much money, 10 grand. And my car balance was a lot, like over 20 grand. And I went in the bank, and it was so interesting. I went in the bank to refinance my car. I dropped 10 grand down on the car, and they looked at me like, "Oh, you want to just refinance?" I said, "No, I'm coming to get this thing paid off." I dropped my monthly payment from like $468 to $215.
Wow.
And so I was able to take that extra $200 or whatever and do whatever I needed to do with position it where I wanted to position it to add value to me.
Because now you coming from a $400 car payment to a $200 car payment. That's an extra $2 cash flow money that you have to put away. So in your mind, you're still paying the $400 when you pay out. You can do it that way, and then you still have that money that you can put in some type of investment that's going to keep making you money over time. Yeah, because when I stop strategy, y'all, another strategy. When I stop paying on an item with my financial coach, I still pretend that I still require to pay that item, and I'm still paying to something, like paying into my savings, just like I was paying that item. And then in that case, I am still able to put money away. I think we're living, Janee, in a season where it's no longer that we want to look like the Joneses. We're in a season now where we want to have our bank account to look like the Joneses, not on us, right? Because this is a season of changing our financial literacy and changing the economy. I think in this season, you're going to see a lot of people who are cutting costs, just like you're saying, and doing certain things, because the reason we got in here is to please other people in the first place.
What value are they bringing to your life? None. Right? That part is so hard for me to understand, because we're just not living in our truth. We're not living in our truth. I can't afford to go get $100,000 car, or it just doesn't make sense. Right? So when we're in a bad situation and we're looking around and trying to look like something, but really inside we're dying, being crushed, and then we're reaching out to help, which is great, but without that cash flow, it's hard for you to be able to do anything.
Correct. And I want to really encourage the people who are saying, like, right now, hey, my credit score is bad and I can't move. I can't, because of the bad credit score. Number one, reach out to someone who does credit right now. I think Garrett is still on here. Garrett, go ahead, give me a 3 in the chat if you're still here. But so we have people who does deal with credit. We have a couple of people on here right now that does business credit. Regina, she also does business credit. But in the meantime, there are still things you can do. See, one of the things that we have is people says, hey, I'm in this situation where my expense is so high, but there's nothing I can do about it because my credit is so bad. But I want to encourage you. I've been there before. Like I literally been there before, right? I talk about when I got divorced, my credit score dropped to 430. I was very transparent with y'all. So if I had just sit there right now, I'm like, I can't do nothing. I never allow to a negative situation to stop me from moving forward. Never.
Right.
Never. Because there's so much. You can get a job. You can go get a job. You can work. You can get up early and market your business consistently, right? You can reach out from help for family members. There's different things that you can do in this season, in this COVID season, that you're still able to increase your earning power to create wealth, right? So I love that, because I want to caution anyone that's listening to us right now is feeling like, hey, I can't do anything. I'm in this situation. I encourage you. That's a lie. Because we have favors with God, right? That's what the show is about. We have favors, and what he wants you to do is to surround yourself with people who understand your situation and seek wisdom and knowledge. Read books. I think everyone who is in this financial space have probably read Rich Dad Poor Dad. I think that's one of those books that we all have read and say, okay, now we can change our lives. So there's knowledge and power in a book, but there should be everyone who's on Sound of My Voice who's going through a financial issue right now, there is a way out. And if you don't have the answer, that's because you're not seeking the answer. You're not surrounding yourself with people that can help you, because your mindset and pride is getting in the way. We're going to move them away out to the side so we can get to where we need to get to. So now, here's my question for you. I want to really ask you, speaking of favors in shifting dynamic, what are some favors that you have on a situation where you can think of you using favor where you wasn't sure how you're going to pay for this something and it happened? Can you tell us a story of how favors has walked in and just took over in your life? Go ahead. I'm excited about that part.
Listen, one thing that I've even on my Instagram handle, Facebook, I've always called myself J Favored, because there were so many always before I even knew like I was walking in favor. Because what I realized was as soon as I was obedient to do what I felt like God was leading me to do, and I got in alignment with where I was supposed to be going, then all the favor just started reaching in. So one example, I believe it was maybe last year, I was chosen as sales coach of the year for my company that I work for. And with that, it came with $500 amount cash that they gave you when I went to the corporate office. And there were so many things like this that happened throughout that year that I was able to just pour into my savings, pour into my investing, pour into my business. I mean, that's just one, but there's so many. And when I work with my clients, what I absolutely love about what I do is when they put the work in, when you do the 20%, just getting in alignment and doing what you're supposed to do, God then comes in and gives you the overflow from all different places, as long as you're doing your part, in the process, because there's difference between gifts and rewards. Gifts, God just give us. But then rewards come when you do the things and put things into practice. And then he's like, okay, great. I'm ready to give you all these blessings. All these blessings. And so that's just one thing that I can think of, but to be recognized and to have that favor of the #1 sales coach of the year, and then get a monetary. And then while I was there, I won an extra $250 because I won a contest. So it was just like
favors, y'all.
Thank you, Lord. I receive it.
Yes, you're receiving, you put in the work. And I think, and again, favors is given to everyone that accepts it. Favors is given, so there are plenty of people right now, the sound of my voice, as we have this show, is saying that, I am in so much financial debt, or something that kept me up late. Finances kept me up late at night, and I don't know how I'm going to pay my bills. I don't know. I'm furloughed. I don't know how I'm going to make it. What advice, Janee, do you have for these people that literally say, hey, I lost my job, or they're not sending me back, and I just feel like I don't know what to do right now. I don't know how my kids are going to eat. I don't know what I'm going to do. I have a great job, was making great money. What's your advice for those people right now?
Well, the first thing first is trust God. Number one, trust him. He knows where you are. He's not going to allow you to go without. Two is start looking really at what you are paying out and start decreasing and cutting things down that you feel are taken away from the extra that you could be saving or that you can be investing. You said one thing. I keep giving you like
it's okay. We need them all. We need them all. Keep going. Yes, I'll take them all.
Just because we're in COVID doesn't mean that life is shut down. Someone out there is hiring, or, you could start a business online. You could do something to try to bring some income in. So just because it didn't look like, because nothing looks like it did 3 months ago, doesn't mean that you can't still move forward and get what you need. It just looks different.
I'm going to pivot. I'm going to piggyback on what you just said. Another thing too is, I would say, because I didn't realize this myself, take the skills that they hire you for. There's some people, when you got that job, they paid you, or they hired you because you had some skills and ability that they want you to be using in their business. So it's same skills and ability that they saw in you, within you. We talked about just 3:20 yesterday, that they see within you. You could be using that same skills and ability to help somebody else and make an impact while also making an income. So I don't forget those blessings or those skills and those accolades that you get at work. You got them for a reason. Even if it's a soft skills, you got those skills and ability because they saw something within you that say that you are great, and they want you to show up for their company. So just like you're showing up for their company, you can also show up for yourself. And when you're an entrepreneur, when you take those same skills and create a passion and create a business out of that, of that skills, now you don't have a ceiling for how much money you can make. So that's vital, and that's so important that you understand that you have the skills and ability to grow your own business and become your own boss, as long as you're disciplined. I cannot say that the discipline. Now, I know when we talk about budget, Janee, this is one of my final questions I have for you. Well, second one, actually, second last one. When we're talking about budgeting, I'll be honest with you, like, oh Lord, how do I say discipline this?
Action plan.
Replace the word with action plan. Okay. How do I create this action plan that I'm going to remain disciplined on there? How do you encourage your clients to stay disciplined and with your action plan to see the results?
Well, I am the type of person that if you don't see it, then you're typically not going to do it. So if it's out of sight, out of mind, then you're going to forget about it, right? So I'm a writer. So if you don't have an Excel sheet, you don't really need all that. Write everything down and post it on your wall. Post it somewhere. Put it in your bathroom on a wall. Like, make sure that it's visible so that you're reminded of where you are, and on track. I got to the point where now I can do my budget once and I don't have to think about it because I've structured it. So what I will also say is, after you write down everything, what's coming out of your account, whatever that extra is, take it out. Use cash. Try not to use credit cards so much. Just use cash so that you can feel where that money is going. If you can feel it, it'll make a difference in how you feel.
I love that. In our 2K class, and Janee is also part of our 2K program, we've been doing this thing about daily process and daily activity process and writing down our daily activity to see where we're spending most of our time. I believe that there's power in the pen. When you're able to see something on paper, where you're able to see, you're like, because your bank account will tell you one thing, but on paper, that's when reality will set in. So I want to piggyback on what you said and say, yes, write it down so you can really see, okay, what do I owe? What is my expenses? What are all the things I'm responsible for? Mm-hmm. And I want to add this other piece of advice too, is during COVID, there are a lot of companies and corporations that are reaching out to help you, insurance companies, your mortgage company. So it's important that we take advantage of, you hate that word advantage, but take advantage of those opportunities that are available to us and use it as so needed, right? So if you haven't taken the time out to call your phone company, call your insurance company, call your mortgage company to say, hey, it's my situation. I lost my job or I'm furloughed. What do you have for people who are going through a COVID crisis? Because I can't tell you how many times that we have the answer right next to us, but we fail to take action.
You don't ask. You just don't ask. Right?
We don't ask. So Janee, where can people find you? You're so amazing. Your information about cutting costs is so great. Where can people find you?
I am on Facebook at Financial Healing for Women, also on Instagram, Financial Healing for Women. And I have a free Facebook group where there are tons of women in there. I mean, they're smashing goals. I mean, paying off debt, saving. They're so amazing. They drive me every single day. That is Financial Healing #sisterhood.
I love that. And what is your feedback? And you're part of our 2K Revenue Attraction Factor. What's your review so far inside of our group?
Sherri is pushing me out of my comfort zone every single day. And I love it because it's exactly what I need in this season. I can speak about finances from a personal standpoint, but she really opens my eyes to the business standpoint of increasing my revenue. And so it is really challenging my mindset, and it's exactly what I needed in this season.
I love that. Listen, as she's going to drop her information in the chat, I thank you so much for taking the time to teach us how you're able to keep your budget low. And if you have questions for her that we didn't answer, feel free to write it down and drop it in the chat, and we'll make sure that we answer. I promise we'll get back to every question that is asked. We want you to be able to increase your earning power, to create a legacy for your family. And for you to be able to do that, again, the three things that you're able to do is favor finance by cutting those costs, increasing your earning power, getting your money back in those three areas. Just saw the comment.
Also, I'm going to drop a freebie in the comments for you to plug in. It's a easy plug and play budget. So all you got to do is plug in your monthly income. It's going to calculate all the percentages that you should stay within. And hopefully you can line it up with where you are now, what you're actually spending, and it'll give you a good idea of where you should be.
Oh, thank you. I love that. Yes. Go ahead and put in the comments. I love that, guys. So that's what happened when you're on the Faith, Favor, and Finance live with Sherri's show. I'm excited. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll talk to you next time.